The ship moves through the water with a steady, patient weight. It is not a warship. It is not built for speed or pursuit. It is a merchant vessel, broad in the belly, deep in the water, carrying the quiet burden of trade. Wool packed tightly in barrels, grain sealed in canvas sacks, clay amphorae resting in straw, each holding oil or wine meant for another shore. The ship does not think of that shore now. It moves because the sea lifts it. The hull is thick oak, darkened by years of salt and sun. Each plank was bent slowly over heat, fixed into place with iron fastenings hammered by hand. The wood remembers pressure. It answers the water with a low, familiar sound. Not a complaint, not a warning, just recognition. The sea tonight is calm, not flat but measured. Long waves pass beneath the ship, raising it gently, then lowering it again, as though the water itself is breathing, up, down, up again. The rhythm does not hurry. Above the deck, the sails are set for night travel. Canvas hangs heavy, catching the wind without strain. The sailcloth smells faintly of tar and salt, darkened where hands have touched it 1,000 times. The ropes that guide it run through wooden blocks polished smooth by years of friction. They do not move now. They wait. A lantern burns near the main mast. Its flame is protected behind glass, yellow and soft. It does not flicker sharply. The air tonight is too gentle for that. The light spills across the deck boards, stopping where shadow begins. No attempt is made to push the darkness away. The deck itself is bare. No crew walks it now. Boot marks remain pressed into the grain of the wood, scars from earlier hours, but no new steps are added. The night belongs to stillness. Near the rail, coils of rope lie stacked neatly. Each coil was laid by hand, wound carefully so it could be lifted again without tangling. Tonight, it rests unused. Salt clings to the fibers. The smell of hemp and sea lingers in the air. Far below the deck, the cargo hold is quiet. Barrels sit wedged into place, chocked with wooden braces to keep them from shifting. Iron hoops encircle their sides, dulled by age. Each barrel contains something meant for exchange: grain, salted fish, dried fruit, oil. Nothing stirs. Canvas sacks rest against the hull, their contents packed tight. Grain kernels press against the fabric, unmoving. They have crossed water before. They will cross it again. A lantern hangs in the hold, its light dimmer than the one above. It casts a small circle of warmth on the planks, leaving the corners dark and untouched. The ship creaks softly around it, settling into itself. In the shelter of the cargo, a dog sleeps. Curled tightly against a stack of sacks, its body rises and falls with slow breaths. It has learned the motion of the sea. It no longer startles when the ship shifts. Sleep comes easily here. Back above, the night sky stretches wide. Clouds drift slowly, thin enough to let moonlight through. The moon hangs pale and distant, its reflection broken across the water. Silver fragments scatter, then gather again as the waves move. There is no attempt to navigate by the stars tonight. The course was set early. The sea is trusted to the light. At the stern, the steering oar rests against its fittings. It does not move. The ship knows its balance. Near the nose, the cat sleeps on a corner rope. Its body is tucked inward, conserving warmth. One ear flicks briefly, then stills. The lantern light does not disturb it. The wind shifts slightly. Not enough to matter. The sails respond without effort. The galley is quiet. A wooden table holds the remains of the evening meal. The leg sits where it was last kept. A knife lies flat beside it. The jug stands half empty, its mouth stopped with cloth. It mixes with salt and wood and smoke, a familiar scent. The ship continues forward, not toward morning, not away from night, just onward. The sea repeats itself endlessly, touching the hull, letting go, touching again. Nothing announces itself. Nothing demands attention. The ship moves because it was built to move. The sea carries it because that is what the sea does. If sleep arrives now, the voyage continues. If sleep takes longer, the voyage continues. The ship does not notice. The lanterns burn. The sails rest. The water breathes. Nothing changes. And the merchant ship keeps moving across the dark water. The water does not change its mind. It lifts the hull again, then lowers it, as it has done all night. The ship responds without thought. Deep within the hull, the oak beams press against one another. They were cut from trees that grew slowly, ring by ring, in forests far from the sea. Now they hold together under salt and motion, doing the work they were shaped for. The wood does not resist, it settles. Between the beams, tar fills narrow seams. Its scent is faint but persistent, a reminder of hands that worked carefully, sealing gaps one by one long before this crossing began. Those hands are gone. The work remains. The ship's weight rests evenly now. Cargo balanced carefully across the hold. Nothing leans too far. Nothing strains. A barrel shifts slightly, only the smallest sound. Then it settles again, pressed firmly against its braces. Wood meets wood. The sound fades. The dog stirs once. A breath deepens. Then sleep resumes, undisturbed. Above, the lantern near the mast continues to glow. Its glass has small imperfections, tiny ripples that soften the flame into a gentle blur. Light pools, then stop. Darkness remains where it belongs. A rope creaks faintly where it meets a block. Not from tension, only from memory. The sails hold steady. Their edges flutter just enough to remind the air they are present. No adjustments are needed. The moon slides behind a thin veil of cloud. Its reflection on the water dulls, then returns. The sea accepts both states without preference. Far off, the horizon remains invisible. There is no line to follow, only direction held quietly within the ship itself. Below deck, a small drip forms along a seam. Water gathers, then falls. One drop, then another. The sound is soft, regular, unconcerned. A wooden bucket rests nearby, already holding earlier drops. It will be emptied later. Not now. In the galley, the fire is burned down to embers. Their glow is faint. Heat lingers in the stones. The night does not hurry them. A mug sits overturned beside the table. A smear of oil darkens the wood beneath it. No one notices. The cat shifts slightly on the rope coil. Its tail moves once, then curls closer to its body. Sleep remains deep. The ship rolls gently to port, then back again. The motion is slow enough to be ignored. Wind passes along the rigging. It makes no demand. The ropes answer quietly. Far below the waterline, the sea slides past the hull. It does not know the ship's name. It does not need to. Time stretches. Minutes pass without markers. No bells are rung. No hours are counted. The ship exists entirely in this moment, neither beginning nor ending. A lantern in the hold dims slightly as oil burns lower. The flame shortens. Still steady. The cargo does not dream of markets. The ship does not imagine harbors. Tonight is not for exchange. It is for movement. The waves continue their long pattern. Lift, settle, lift again. The sound of water becomes softer, blending into the background of thought, or perhaps into the absence of thought. Nothing changes. The ship remains whole. The sea remains open. If sleep deepens now, the ship continues. If sleep lightens, the ship continues. It makes no distinction. The lanterns burn low but steady. The sails remain full. The night holds. The merchant ship moves on.